Welcome to the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk, a show about ancient coins from the viewpoint of a seasoned professional with nearly 30 years' experience. Here's Aaron Berk and Mike Nottleman on the Ancient Coin Podcast.
And the sound of the gong means it is once again time for the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk. I'm Mike Nottleman.
I'm Aaron Berk.
And today we have a little shameless self-promotion for you, but we are going to talk about the latest buyer bid sale, and we do have an educational segment today, and just some general stuff. And coming up after we record this, we are also going to do an Ask Us Anything, which will be live on the internet. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we'll later put the link in this broadcast for probably, if you're watching this after the fact, it'll be taped.
So that you can go back and watch the...
And then you can go back and watch the other thing. We're going to be me, Mike, and Russ from our store.
Yes. Harlan J. Berk takes over the coin show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be fun. All right, so let's see. So in the world of auction, there really is, one of the things I like about our particular buyer bid format is the fact that if you are computer literate, you're at an automatic advantage because the stuff goes up online before the catalogs are actually delivered. And not necessarily by design, it's just kind of the way the world works.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's kind of common practice these days, and print is kind of a luxury that a lot of companies don't necessarily do anymore. We and a few, obviously, others out there that can afford to do it. We don't charge our clients for them. It ends up costing us about $25,000 per catalog that comes right out of the Harlan Berk. We have to pay for that with sale of coins. We don't charge for the catalog. And so, and I know a lot of other companies do the same that actually print catalogs. But the process itself, after I send it to the printer, it takes about up to 10 days to get it back from the printer. And so, when you're sitting on a catalog that's ready to go with web images, it's kind of silly to sit on it for 10 days when you don't have to.
Not in this day and age.
No. And the other thing I really like is when I put it up online, we get the coin industry to kind of vet the catalog because we miss things. And there was, I think, 3 or 4 fakes that we didn't realize, nothing significant, but we were able to pull them from the website and pull them from the catalog before it went to print. So by the time we actually go to print, when you actually receive the catalog, hopefully, not always, but you'll get a nice, clean, proofed and vetted catalog. And so that's a huge advantage. And any company that says they have never sold a fake or offered a fake is lying, because it happens to the best of us. And so,
well, I don't know if even they're necessarily lying. They may just be naive.
They might be naive, but
not smart enough to know that they've sold a fake, because it happens to everybody. That was kind of my point. I made it poorly.
Yeah, and obviously, if we can pull a coin before we sell it, we can just throw it in our fake drawer. So then it's off the market forever. And so unfortunately, with some auction houses, they return the coins back to the owners that can sign them. And then depending on that collector and what their end game is, and if they don't have any recourse, they may cut off of that coin again in 2 to 5 years. And so it's dangerous to have that coin out there. So it's nice when we can just throw it in the fake drawers. And if you've seen the video I've done on the fake drawers, it's actually on YouTube in the listing here under my channel. It's pretty cool. The black cabinet, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and that's, you know, almost 60, about 60 years worth of coins being pulled and put into that thing. We also buy fakes when we get a chance to buy them. And whenever a collection comes in, there's always a number of fakes, and we just are able to put those into the fake drawers. So it's a huge advantage. So as Mike said, we don't always toot our horn, but I'm going to talk about our buyer bid sale. It is auction season. So there are a lot of auctions going on. The Morton Eads sale, which we talked about last time, was the bloodbath that I stated it would be. A lot of strong prices overall. But there were some deals to be had as well. Gorney and Mosh has got their sale coming up. NAC just listed their auction, and so hopefully they're not going to be coming up until November 8th, I believe. And so hopefully we'll have another show before then, and we'll profile the NAC sale. But since our sale just launched about a week ago or less, it's thought it would be good to kind of show it off. I don't know where you're at, Mike, but if you go to the 225th buyer bid sale, the first, what we've been doing is we bought Curtis Clay's collection. It was about 5,000 or 6,000 coins. If you don't know who Curtis is, he's one of the foremost, probably one of the greatest Roman scholars living today on coins, and he's been working with Aaron Berk since 1996. And Curtis is getting up there in age, and he just decided that it was time to kind of sell his collection. So we Aaron Berk bought his collection, and he's going to be offering anywhere from 150 to 200 coins in every one of our buyer bid sales until going forward until it's done. Which means he's got to write them up and put them in our database and do all the work. So it's a process every time. And he's doing it by Emperor. And so there is and we're letting Curtis choose which coins go into the catalog as well. So, but Curtis only collected rarities, legend variants, anything that the British Museum did not own, Curtis bought. And so that was kind of how we went about things. So this particular catalog is going to start out again with 161 of Curtis's coins, and then it goes into our regular inventory at lot 162. So we'll probably do that for now on, because honestly, Curtis gets his coins put together before we get the general stock put together, and so we start the photography and videos for Curtis's collection early. And so by doing that, we have to have them in lot number order. That's the way we do our process. So Curtis's collection will always be the beginning for the next, could be a couple years in that case. One in particular coin I wanted to point out with Curtis's is, and by the way, there's 540 ancient coins in the sale, 40 world coins, and 95 antiquities. And again, our buyer bid sales are, you can buy at the full price, or you can place a offer or bid below our asking price, and if you're the highest offer at the end of the sale, you get it at the price that you offered, as long as it hasn't sold at the full retail. So if a coin's listed at $100 and somebody buys it for $100 today, it's out of the sale. If you want to pay $80 for that coin, you have to wait till the end of the sale, which in this case is November 30th. And if you're the highest offer at $80, no one outbids you and no one buys the coin, you get it at $80. There are never any buyer's fees in our sales, which some of you probably realizing these days. If you bid in like an NAC, I think NAC's next sale is 23%. You're going to be paying anywhere from 22.5% to 23%. Plus, if you're in Europe, exchange rates. So our sale is actually a nice balance between the auction, traditional auctions, and a old traditional retail facility. And so I think it's a nice trade-off for clients to be able to buy what they want. And also it's a first come, first serve. And so you're able to buy a coin before that billionaire or millionaire who's going to outbid you in a sale can buy it. So there are advantages. Some people get upset because they go and things are sold out quickly, but that's just the name of the game. We don't cater to anybody, and so it really is a first come, first serve basis. And so I also find that's an advantage for a lot of people. So the first coin I want to talk about is lot 142. in Curtis's collection, and this is a great example of how Curtis collected. So this is Domitian, probably an ass. No, it's a sestertius, so it's a larger coin. And again, every single one of our coins will have a video, which is it's going to be the fourth tile there, and then you can hit play right within there, and you'll see exactly what the coin looks like. And we do that because it's really hard to capture photography, and no one gets photography exactly correct. The videos don't lie. And so you can show luster, you can show a lot of different things by just turning the coin and allowing people to see it in hand, see how big it is. There's lots of advantage to that. I don't like anybody wearing gloves because I think that that's actually a good way to drop the coin, number one. And number two, as long as you didn't eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then hold the coin, I think your hands are going to be okay. So these things come out of the ground covered in sediment. So you hold it from the edge, you don't really have too much to worry about. So in this case, this reverse of this coin actually at the bottom says CS when it should say SC. So this is actually a mint error or a legend error. And it's the only time this ever came up. So in such a highly developed area, obviously, like the coins of Domitian, to have this kind of legend error is pretty crazy. That means the die was set that way. And so I don't know how many coins were struck like that until they figured out that there was a mistake. But and it's also a captive Germania. So as Domitian was conquering the Germans here, they're showing the captive of a German here. So obviously, very rare coin for the legend variant itself. And that's kind of what you'll find in most of Curtis's collection is like little variants, little legend types, and certain rarities that frankly the British Museum wouldn't probably own. So, and again, you can see the coins listed at $5,000. If you pay the $5,000, it's yours. If you place a bid of $3,500, let's say, and we all decided at Aaron Berk that $3,500 was fair, and we were going to accept that, then you would get it at $3,500 if no one paid the $5,000, and you don't pay any buyer's fees. It'll never go for over $5,000. That's just not the way our system works. So. It allows clients to really dictate how they want to spend the money, and frankly, if you want to risk losing the coin, if you don't buy it outright. So the next coin I want to talk about is lot 341, and this is a coin issued by one of the moneyers, which I'm going to just go with the longest part. It's P. Sabras Casaca Longus. Hate their names. They're so long in the Republican period, imperatorial period. But this is a moving mint that moved with Brutus, going to be during the wars with Octavian. And he was with Octavian against, or Brutus was against Octavian and Mark Antony, I should say. And so because Mark Antony and Brutus had a very strong naval scenario, this is just showing that they are kind of using Neptune and showing the triumphs that they had. And so this is very high quality coin. It's a very rare type, in really beautiful high quality. And the video, again, you can see the luster on the coin, which you don't get in photographs. That's why I like using videos, because you can capture the luster, which shows the true surfaces of the coin, which in a photograph it looks flat. And so where you get a reflection that kind of washes it out. And so I think, again, we don't care if a coin is $100 or $10,000. We do a video for every single lot in our sale, every single lot.
And it really does bring them to life.
It does completely. So The next lot is another kind of imperatorial type. It's Ahina barbarus, which is a mouthful. And Ahina barbarus, he was a general and politician in Rome during the 1st century BC, and he fought in the Second Triumvirate, which is going to be the civil wars after the assassination of Julius Caesar. There's a good chance he sided with Brutus, and he followed Brutus after leaving Rome after the assassination of Julius Caesar. There's a very good chance that he was one of the co-conspirators to assassinate Julius Caesar. It's not proven, but there's a good chance that he may have been one of the people that assassinated Julius Caesar. And again, here we have Ahina barbarus on the obverse of the coin, and on the reverse, he is showing his triumph in his naval victory over one of the other senators, Gnaeus Domitius Calvinus, which I'm murdering the names, but that's just what I do.
I couldn't tell.
Yep. So you. And obviously he went down after Octavian and who later becomes Augustus, and Mark Antony wins in the civil wars, and Ahina barbarus dies in 31 BC. This coin actually we bought from a dealer who bought it from the Triton sale in 2023. So we didn't actually pay the price that it sold for, and this is where a lot of people always think, like, oh, they just bought it out of Triton in January and now they see our profit. Well, no. We bought it from another dealer who bought it out of the sale, and the photograph actually in Triton was terrible. And so, and if you look at the video, you can see how beautiful this coin was. When I saw this coin in person, I was like, this has to be one of the best ones I've ever seen. It's really fantastic. The luster, everything is really beautiful. The reverse, not as strong as it could be, but the obverse is just fantastic. But overall, just a really fantastic coin in hand, and probably one of the finest that we've ever handled at Aaron Berk. So, moving on, we're going to go to lot 433. Now, this is kind of not a beautiful coin, but it's so freaking rare. In this sale, we bought a major collection that was hadn't been added to since probably the late 90s. And so all the stuff's been off the market since late 90s. And the gentleman who collected, he passed away. He loved architectural types. He didn't have all the money in the world, so not every piece is high quality, but they're all really rare, and you'll see that in the next few coins we show. And so this coin actually is a coin of Juba I. So it's a very large, if you look at the video, it's a very large bronze coin. It has 2 temples. There's only 4 of these known, and this is the best one of all of them. So it's really a rare coin. It probably shows the palaces or temples that were in the cities, which is now part of modern day Algeria, which was Numidia, and Juba was the king of that region. And he did a lot with dealing with the Romans, and a lot of people collect Juba and Juba II and so on because of their connection with the Roman Empire.
This is a really chunky coin, really meaty.
It's really chunky. But we literally, it's such a rare coin. And the last time this was offered was in 1987. Well, guys, I graduated high school in 1987. So this has been off the market since 87. So that's really cool to see. Because we bought this came in this massive collection, and it's really a major rarity that only 3 other institutions or people can own, because there's only 4 in existence. So pretty important coin. Not beautiful, but architecturally it's beautiful for what it is. You have 2 separate buildings here, and and from a pretty important guy in history as well. So if we move on, and it's also going to be the cover coin to our catalog, one of the cover coins to our catalog. Moving on, we're going to go to lot 456. Okay, guys, we've seen Titus Colosseums before. This one's not a pretty one, but this was in the collection. And this was offered originally by us in 1985. So this was in our, we're now on our 225th buyer bid sale. This coin was in our 35th buy or bid sale in February of 1985 when the collector bought it from us, and it's been off the market ever since. It's an opportunity.
This coin has got to be just excessively rare.
There's, I believe, 80 of them in existence, something like that. But, you know, look, a high grade one's going to cost you, look, I think the most expensive one brought close to $1 million. You're going to be looking at a minimum of 50 to 80,000 hammer for nice ones and up. And so this is a rare opportunity for somebody to own a Colosseum Sesterce for under $10,000. So it's pretty cool. You know, we can't all afford to have the best. And yes, $9,000 is still a lot of money. Maybe this ends up going for $7,000 or $6,000. Who knows? But I think it's very cool, and to be able to have an opportunity to buy these things in lower quality. C&G just sold one, and I think it brought about this maybe a little bit more out of their last mail bid sale. So they do come up periodically. It was interesting that we both had one that were both listed in the 80s at the same time, coming from two separate sources. So very cool in that regard. We go to the next coin, and our last coin, lot 491. It's got a hole in it, but so did the gold eye.
Yes, that hasn't hurt us before.
Right, but this is the Circus Maximus on the reverse of this coin. And the Circus Maximus was basically a chariot racing stadium in Rome, and it existed for a long time. It burned down a couple times. It held over 150,000 spectators, which is very, very cool. And Caracalla, who's on the obverse of this coin, did some of the restoration to it, and that's why he issued this coin in 213 AD. Somebody punctured it and wore it as a token piece back in ancient times. So this was obviously a very sought after coin even in ancient times, and somebody thought it was so cool that they wore it as a piece of jewelry. But again, very important. If it didn't have the hole, it could be a $20,000 or $30,000 piece and up. They don't come up that often. And so again, an opportunity to own an extremely rare coin, you just have to deal with the hole. But the hole kind of gives a little bit of character, I think.
And I want to put something into perspective, because you said that this Colosseum seated about 150,000 people. You know, we live in a world of 8 billion people now, and 150,000 is not all that much. In ancient times, 150,000 was probably close to the entire population.
It was, yeah. I mean, I think it was important for the Roman emperors to have the Roman people happy, and so these types of games was a way for them to present to them and to show the might of Rome on top of it.
Sure.
And so if you're a citizen of Rome, you got to take places and, you know, and get to go to these amazing sites, which today, this site still exists. Obviously not in its way it looks on this coin, but it's an actual park. You can actually go there and visit it, which is really cool. So that's our buyer bid sale. There's obviously a ton more coins. There's a lot of Greek coins. I just didn't pinpoint any in there. A bunch have already sold since we listed it, but there's still a lot of coins available, as you can see. Check it out if you get a chance. If you don't want to buy anything, fine, go and study it, because it's an opportunity to see a very old collection put together a long time ago with some very cool architectural types.
Yeah, if you do nothing from the buyer bid sale other than just peruse Curtis's coins, you'll learn a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I would totally agree with that. So that kind of brings us to our educational section, and this could go on for several sessions. So I'm just going to kind of touch on it a little bit and give you some resources that you can use in the future. But let's talk about ancient Roman legends, because we can talk about the Greek legends, but the Greek legends, obviously, they just typically name the city or the king. They don't have the kind of legend work that they had in the Roman period, because they were giving their titles and what the Senate had given them and the wars that they had won, and they're dating the coin. So
They're celebrating themselves.
So there's so much more. And don't forget that Roman coins especially were propaganda pieces for the Roman emperor and the Senate. And so it made sense to get their coins out there with all of their triumphs listed on the coins. And they're exactly dated, so we know exactly when they were minted, which is also really, really, really cool. So if we go to the first slide after the title. So wait for Mike to get over there.
Oh, I'm there. I mean, I'm just after the title. Excuse me, sir. There you go.
Yeah. There you go. So I found this on the internet. This was done by Michael Swalwand. Might be mispronouncing your name, but he kind of got some of the basics in there, and I wanted to kind of throw it in, use it, because I thought he did some of the work for me. So you can see most Roman coins start with imp. And if you can look over to the left, you'll see that just means imperator or emperor. And then AVG is typically used, and it's Augustus, the name of the emperor, bestowed. You can read it for yourselves. And then Caesar usually became Caesar. It was kind of like being vice president, and then you became Augustus. So you're going to list the fact that you were Augustus and then also Caesar at one time. And then you have PM, which is typically in a lot of these things, which means that you were high priest of the Roman region, and it was a title that you held for life. And so all of these different letters mean something, and the datings mean something, whether it's the council at Kos, and you can see here it's broken down within the legends, Mike. I don't know if you can see where they kind of broke it off. You did a good job. It's not a high quality coin, but you can kind of get an idea. And so cost 5, we know then that was the 5th year of his consulship. So then we can, based on that, we can know when this coin was actually issued. So that's how you can kind of get the dating down.
Yeah, it's to me, this is a really good breakdown of how it's all there, because you see it and they run it all together for lack of space. And so from an outsider, it becomes a little daunting when you start looking at it. So this actually helps to kind of break it into a more digestible chunk.
Absolutely. And some I didn't even think about, you can see there at the bottom after cost 5 it says cens, CENS, and cens means its title often held for life, which means censor determine the size of the Senate. So I mean, these are pretty common things when we think about it, but they were all abbreviated, and so they're having to show their power over not only being the head priest of the emperor, but also head of the Senate, and also head of how many different councils or governments that they have been a part of as well. So it's really interesting in that regard. The Trajan Decius, that's the coin next to it, that legend literally means the emperor Cassius Messus Quintus Trajan Decius Augustus. So the CMQ is basically like his earlier title or earlier name, and so a lot of these some emperors have earlier names that then get incorporated into their legends. And so it's just a matter of knowing the emperor and the coins and knowing those legends that go with them. So if we go to the next slide, again, a couple more definitions. And if you look on this gold coin of Domitian, you can actually see Simp, Caesar, Domitian, Germ. And so Germ means that he conquered the Germans and when they were fighting the German tribes. And so here Domitian is showing that he defeated the Germans, or if it was Brit, it would be that they conquered the Britons, and so on and so forth. And so they are literally putting their triumphs in the legends of the coins. So, and then if you see in later Roman coins, you'll see here this inscription of Constantianus. It's just talking about Constantine the Younger, noble prince, Caesar. The coin was issued while Constantine was junior emperor, or Caesar, under his father Constantine the Great, who was senior emperor Augustus. So again, titles mean everything when it comes to your ranking and where you stood in the line of progression to emperor, which may or may not have been a good thing.
Almost like a Prince of Wales thing.
Right, exactly. Well, all these things.
This is my heir to the throne.
Like all these things derive to modern day monarchies, right? So
sure,
they all started somewhere, right?
Everything has to.
Everything has to. So there are a couple websites out there. Now, one thing I wanted to show, if you go to the next slide. Okra, which this is actually done by the ANS. If you haven't been to the American Numismatic Society's website, tons and tons and tons of resources. So, Mike, if you hit that link there for the Numismatics identity, you can literally go in here and you see where it says Obverse Legend. You can, if you don't know who your Roman emperor is, you're unsure, you can't identify it, you can literally put in Obverse and Reverse Legends and it will search this entire database and give you results.
Wow.
So you don't have to know how to read the legends to get the answers to a lot of these questions.
So this is a link we should definitely put in the description to this.
Right. Yeah, and I will. And if you even look at it's breaking down the portraits of the coins, if you hit the arrows, like under Julius Caesar, you can see different portraits of Julius Caesar, Julio Claudian. It's kind of cool. So there's all kinds of really cool things here. And you can break it down by material as well, gold, silver, billion, which is debased silver, and then copper. So it's the ANS and its secondary sites that they're linked to, huge resource, and everybody should use it. It's a credit to the ANS. It's a credit to the academics who have come before us to help us make our life easier when identifying these things. So, and if you're not sure how to use it, Mike, if you go back to the slideshow, there's a link below there. This is a friend of ours who does a lot of videos on YouTube. He does actually a whole breakdown of how to use this website. So you should check that out. And subscribe to him because he's actually does a lot of cool things on ancient coins, and they're not long, and they're very educational. And I think he typically will post on our Facebook group page, but definitely worth checking out for sure. So again, I could go into this more in depth forever and ever and ever, but this is going to give you a good starting point. And
I really like that site.
You do have this great resource out there called the internet.
Yeah, I really like that site. That was something that I was unaware of, and I know I will use. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it with Coin Archives too, or SC search, because it's kind of the same deal. I think that this search will give you a little bit more information on also the different gods and goddesses that are on there as well, based on the legends. And so it may be a little bit more educational, but you can literally go into AC search or Coin Archives and put in the same legend and get lots of hits and figure out what the coin is from there as well. But if you want to go a little bit more in depth, please use the ANS as a resource for doing these kinds of things.
They are there to help.
So that kind of brings us to our pearl of wisdom, and we've talked about this all the time, about ancient collecting, whether it's ancient coins or anything, baseball cards, I don't care what it is. It's not a race, it's a marathon. And the one thing I always tell my clients is, like, if you get beat out in an auction, which I happen to have to tell clients a lot, that they get upset, and because they didn't win, I should have gone more. And then I say to them, well, first off, you don't know how high the other guy's going to go. Okay. So my pearl of wisdom is there will always be more coins to buy, always. And so even when you think there's a major rarity that unless it's something you haven't seen in, if you've been collecting for 30 years and you've never seen the type, and it's something you've been waiting for all this time, that's a different scenario. But most of my clients are looking for coins that come up on a regular basis. It's just a matter of how high the quality is and what they can afford, right?
Sure.
And so you might be trying for a year to get one type of coin, but it keeps coming up over and over and over again in different catalogs. And so you still have opportunities. And don't forget, as these coins start to sell, there's less and less people at that moment in time in the market that are interested in it. So you have a much better chance of getting the coin at the price that you want to get it at if you long hold and wait, right? And so, and I have this conversation constantly. I'm like, look, it's not a rare coin. It's going to come up again. We'll just keep looking at it. And then, like, I had a client the other day I was talking to, and he was like, oh, there's one coming up in Heritage. And I'm like, well, then you got to worry about the slabbing market, because if it's a high designation, you're going to be fighting against the people buying plastic. And do you really care about plastic? No, I don't care about plastic. Okay, well, if you don't care about plastic, then there's no reason to compete or over-compete for a coin that's going to come up again and again and again and again. So really waiting and being patient and letting things go. I see so many clients way overpay an auction when they don't need to. Unless it's some major rarity that you have to have. So it's a long battle, but I think that's part of the fun of the chase as well. You could just buy the coin and overpay for it and say you own it, but then you're going to be kicking yourself later if that market doesn't elevate that level.
I think that's what the trap is, right? Is that you get anxious and you want it done, you want to complete it, but there's a reason why it is so satisfying to complete it. And that's because it takes time, it really takes work. I actually suffered from the exact same mistake this last month. You know, I have a couple of different things that I collect. I had a set that I needed one more coin for, and I've been looking for the coin for a while. But it's not a rare coin. And I bought a coin that I was unhappy with. And I ended up spending a little bit more money on another coin to replace it. Already I replaced it because it just wasn't worth it. So, so just keep looking. There's always another one around the corner.
And, and again, I have to say, guys, I always tell, I don't know how many times I've had to tell, I have one good friend, you know who you are, who I have to constantly tell him every single time, there's always another coin.
There will be something else worth buying, trust me.
Because he gets stressed out because he's like, oh God, I keep getting blown out. And I'm like, yeah, you get blown out, but it means that you're not being a doofus.
Right.
And so, you can be a doofus if you want, but you won't be happy with yourself.
No.
And so you have to realize it's just, there's so many auctions going on right now. And there are so many coins coming through the system over and over and over again. You will see that, you may even see that coin again, and pay far less for it down the road. And so it's, like for instance, there's a really rare, we talked about the Norton sale, there's a coin of Kos. It's a triple sigillus that has the discus thrower. It's one of the 100 greatest ancient coins. There was one that sold in NAC for like 220, which was a crazy price. And then the Morton and Eden one went for 200,000, and NAC has another one coming up. And so is the one that's coming now. You already have two clients that, like most people can't afford that kind of level, but you already have two clients that have the coins. And so that's possibly going to take somebody out of the running, right? And so is the next one going to go for 150? Is it going to go for 200? Is it going to go for 100?
Right.
You have to realize and watch the market and realize, what's coming down the pipeline. Is there going to be more down the pipeline? And how many people have been satisfied? And it's really, if you think of the market, you think of it as a snapshot, right? So the snapshot is right now, how many new collectors have entered the market that don't have that coin, that can afford to buy that coin. Or if it's like Lysimachus tetragrams were very popular for a while, still are, and in high quality. And how many people are going to have the coin that they're happy with and don't want another one, and who are now dropping out. And every time you get a collector dropping out, if it's I would say within a 3-year period, you're going to see the price start to come down a little bit, depending on how much the demand is, right? And so if 20 years go by, now you have a whole new set of collectors, and so the prices could start to go up, and that's why you see these prices going up and down. So you really have to think of it as a market. It's a small market, and how many collectors there are, and not everyone wants to own everything. They don't need to have 10 of the same type, right? So no matter what, if it's $100 coin or if it's a $100,000 coin. So you got to keep that in mind and realize that there's going to be more to buy, and there's going to be less collectors who want it. And as that demand, everything is supply and demand. So as that demand goes down, the price is going to go up or down depending on what's happening.
The next one may be a better value.
For sure. That's like when you have 3 coins listed in a row that are all the same quality in an auction, chances are the first one and second one might go high and the third one might go cheap. So they may all go
or
high.
the opposite. The first one may go cheap and everybody's hanging out for that last one. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, sometimes it can be a variation of one has a better pedigree than another one. Maybe one has better silvering or centering. There's all different kinds of reasons why they're not going to all be the same, right? Because every ancient coin is completely different.
Why is something beautiful?
Well,
it is.
And what is the saying? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so, what some people find beautiful and spend crazy money for, I'll never understand. And but teach their own.
Yes.
So anyway, so Mike, that was number 35.
35 in the books.
Yeah. Sorry for a little bit of a delay, guys. So,
and we're also sorry for the audio problems that we continue to have.
Hopefully this one's good.
So we brought in an audio engineer, and we'd like to thank him, Aaron Berk, for helping us out with our podcast. We're going to continue to work on the audio. We're going to get it absolutely perfect for you. So
I have better video.
Yes. The video is fantastic. Now we just got to get the audio up to that, quantity. We'll be good.
So anyway.
And
all of you,
thank
you so much for supporting the show, and also sorry about the audio on the last one. It trust me, it hurt me more than it hurt you.
And I will tell you that coming soon, sometime probably next year, we will start to live stream this.
Yeah.
So that's in the works. So thank you to everybody who helps us run our show, everybody who helps us make it happen. And thanks to Ian, thanks to you, Aaron, and thanks to everybody who listened, because we really need listeners if we're going to do something like this. So thank you. Check out our buyer bid sale on our website, hjbltd.com. And if you have questions, you see our email addresses down here. I've got nothing else for them. You got anything for them, Aaron?
Thanks again to our sponsor.
Yes, Bellinger Estates.
Yes.
The
we
best
always wanna
wine
thank
on the
them.
planet.
Absolutely. And thanks for the support, guys. We don't make any money off the show. We get free wine off the show. But we don't charge for the show. We do this because we love numismatics and we love the market. And so we do this out of the goodness of our heart. And so and we hope that you learn something along the way and or correct us along the way.
Yeah, you know what? We're not, well, I'm certainly not above that.
So again, thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate everything you guys have said and how you support the industry as a whole. Thanks.
All right. So long, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on episode 36 of the Ancient Coin Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk. We'll return with another episode soon. Meantime, you can join our private group on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and search the Groups tab for Ancient Coin Podcast Discussion Group and ask to join. There you can become part of our community, where we share and discuss ancient coins, as well as the show, the ancient coin market, auctions, or just to give our own opinions on things in order to learn together. Join Aaron and Mike again soon for the next episode of the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk.